Booktube, it's Kim at Middle of the Bookmarch, and this is my bookish week for Sunday, August 4th. And no intro today because I do have quite a bit to talk about. Not that I finished a lot, but I did finish a few, and I just have a pile of other books to show you and to discuss for whatever reason or another. So, I didn't have a midweek video because work was so crazy this past week, but I hope to remedy that this coming week. We'll see how it goes. So let me tell you about the two books that I finished last week. The first one was my audiobook, and I finished reading that or listening to that in the car. This is Sociopath by Patrick Gagney. And this is her memoir of being diagnosed as a sociopath. So that topic is pretty interesting, to read a book or listen to a book written by a woman who very clearly states that she is a sociopath. And when those of us, a lay person or a normal person, hears the word sociopath, we think of somebody who's absolutely insane, who's a criminal, who's violent, who has no feelings, likes to kill people, serial killer kind of scenario. Kind of like a CSI or a Criminal Minds character on TV. But what she does in this book is she talks about that stereotype and those ideas that we have, usually based on TV, about what a sociopath is and how they act. And she's very clear from her descriptions of her childhood that she felt different. She didn't have feelings the same as other kids did. She didn't have any sense of morality where she felt guilt for doing things. She had a sense of violence and wanting to perpetrate violence against other people because she wanted to feel something, and she didn't feel anything. She didn't have regrets. She didn't have guilt or shame, or she was fairly fearless. And so she does talk quite a bit about that. And she talks about her family when they were told that she was diagnosed as a sociopath. They didn't know how to deal with that. But the thing about the book in general was I was fairly bored. It wasn't that I was expecting her to describe herself as the stereotype, but I did want to hear a little bit more self-analysis. And she does go on to achieve a PhD in psychology. And she did that because she was in therapy and wanted to get more information and more data on sociopathy and sociopaths as people. And there wasn't a lot of information out there. So she decided to go research it herself. Again, with her background, I wanted to hear more of, some research or some analysis or information for those of us listening to or reading the book. I didn't get a lot of that. So I didn't really understand where she was coming from in, can this be a nature versus nurture argument? Is there a genetic component? How would a sociopath get continuing help in order to either deal with this diagnosis or overcome a diagnosis, however a person wants to look at it? And she does talk about that quite a bit. And the epilogue of her book, she does talk about the things that she did going forward, the things that she put in place in her life, the people in her life. She does get married, she does become a mother, and not really a lot of spoilers because she is actually quite a lot all over the internet. So yeah, it was interesting as a topic, but the delivery was boring. And she narrates the audiobook, which is good. She's a good narrator. It's going to sound kind of weird, but her delivery did not sound special in an audiobook. There's a lot of other audiobooks I've listened to with voices or deliveries very similar to hers. So there wasn't anything unique about it. But yeah, so interesting book. I wouldn't highly recommend it, but the topic is an interesting one. Now, the other one is Tana French's, I'm going to shift a little bit, Tana French's The Hunter. This is the sequel to The Searcher. And I don't want to say too much about the plot because it is the second in a series. This is the second in the Cal Hooper series. Cal Hooper is a retired Chicago police officer who decides to buy a rundown little cottage in the Irish countryside to retire in. And that's what he does in The Searcher. In The Searcher, he meets a young person named Trey. There is a kind of a crime mystery at the center of this little remote Irish village. A lot of kind of those stereotypical small town Irish characters. And they are all the same characters in The Hunter. So that's why you would have to read these series of books in order. This one is set in the same little village. Cal has fixed up his cottage so that it's a very comfortable home. And he is now in the center of a mystery and a scandal that is rocking the little village. Trey, who we meet in the first book, is now a teenager, and there's a lot of plot that ensues from there. I really loved The Searcher. I loved the language that Tana French used and her description and her plot development and the story. It was a slow burn, but it was really good to read, and I loved her language in The Searcher. The Hunter, even slower than The Searcher. It's a pretty chunky book. It was too slow, and the pace of the mystery was far too slow. The book was too long for the material within the covers. And so it was not a very twisty-turny story, and the description and the writing was not developed well enough to make up for the length or the lack of plot development. The ending of the mystery was not a, wow kind of a moment for me. It was just a little too long, a little too long-winded, too slow for this type of a story and this type of a plot. The character development was okay. There was quite a bit more in the first book. So, I'm not sure. I read this with Judy Brown. We had another buddy read together. And I think we both felt very similarly, kind of the same way. It was too long. It was too slow. Characters were meh. It was okay. I really do like and love reading books written by Irish authors set in an Irish setting. So I did like that about this one. But we'll see. I will probably almost definitely read a third book if she's going to come out with a third one in the Cal Hooper series. And we'll see how long that goes. The Dublin Murder Squad, I think, is 6 books long. So we'll see. Those are the 2 books I finished. I am currently reading The Wall by Marlene Haushofer. This is translated from German by Sean Whiteside. And I am still in this. I'm on page 81, and it's a pretty short book. I would love to finish this soon because it's very good. But a bunch of other books have taken up quite a bit of my time, so I will definitely finish it, hopefully by my next bookish week. I'm not going to say much more about that. I have 2 additional buddy reads on the go right now. I am reading James by Percival Everett, and at this filming, I am halfway done. This is a buddy read with Erin from Erin Go Live, our first buddy read together, even though we've been friends on Booktube for quite a while. And this is a spoiler alert, maybe, but after 3 chapters, this was already a 5-star book for me. Percival Everett is a brilliant writer, and I have not read Huckleberry Finn. I know the story, but I've never read the book. I don't believe you need to read James, and I think a lot of other reviewers and booktubers have said the same thing. But Everett has such a unique and original voice and mastery of characters. And the topic that he came up with to write James, which is a retelling of Jim in the story of Huckleberry Finn, he's a master of this, and the commentary within the plot, the storyline, it's just friggin' brilliant. And Everett, I want this book to win every prize. I think it is on the Booker list. I think it's on the Booker list. I just don't pay that much attention to the prize list. And I'm also buddy reading Stephen King's The Stand with Pat from Book Chat with Pat. Becoming such a great friend of mine. And if you're watching me and if you've watched Booktube for a while and you're not subscribed to Pat, I don't know what's wrong with you, because Pat is a retired educator, a retired literature educator. She is so smart and kind and fun and just a beautiful person all around. You're crazy if you're not subscribed. So please go and check out her channel. Her link is down below. But we are going to be reading The Stand for Big Book Summer. It's a huge one, this copy is over 1,100 pages. And we're going to be taking our time reading this through August and part of September. So I'm loving my buddy readers for August. These are some wonderful people, Erin and Pat. This book I haven't started yet, but this is my book group book for August, All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker. I'm going to be starting this pretty soon for my meeting on the 28th of August, I believe, with the Critical Chicks. These next two books were a birthday gift from my friend Britta, and she and I have been on a buddy reading project to read Irish literature, Irish women authors. And we've read several so far, and we have another one. I know we have another one. We have plans to read Jess Kidd's book, The Night Ship, and we'll figure out when. But for my birthday, which was the 30th of July, she sent me these two absolutely beautiful books, and I wanted to show them to you. This one is called The Springs of Affection, Stories of Dublin by Maeve Brennan. And this is such a beautiful cover. I absolutely love that scene. This reading chair, the fireplace, the colors, it's just beautiful. This is a story collection by one of the New Yorker's most celebrated writers. It's a story collection of a collection by some of New Yorker's most celebrated writers. And they're collected here, tracing the patterns of love within 3 Dublin families. This looks so good, and you know, Britta knows how to pick some great books. This one is a gorgeous book. It's just a gorgeous object, and I wish I could show you how pretty it is in real life. Even the font, the colors, it's in black and white. This is the Wake Forest Book of Irish Women's Poetry. This is a big chunky one, but look at the cover. I just think this is so beautiful. And then that's the spine, and that's the back. And it's Irish poetry, Irish Women's Poetry Collection. So beautiful. This is selected and with a preface by Peggy O'Brien. Thank you so much, Britta, for my birthday gifts. You know I always appreciate you, so I really loved getting that in the mail. And one other thing I wanted to talk to you about, my friend Maya from Maryland, Maya Mendoza, is hosting her very own read-along in August, the Phenomenal Woman Read-Along. And I wanted to plug this for her because I love her, and this is a great idea. She has gotten, is that the right way to say this? She got, whatever, however, you know what I'm trying to say. So much inspiration and encouragement and however you want to describe it, from Maya Angelou. And this read-along is in dedication to Maya Angelou, but also Maya's 4th anniversary on Booktube and her 74th birthday. And she decided to do this all on her own for August, and I think it's a fabulous idea. And it's basically read anything by Maya Angelou, whether it's one of her autobiographies or her poetry, and or read a book by a writer who you think is a phenomenal woman, or a book about a phenomenal woman. And what I'm gonna try to take part, and I might, excuse me, I might, depending on my time, because life is just crazy right now, I might read some of Maya Angelou's poetry. I have read I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. And I have this beautiful bind-up collection of the collected autobiographies of Maya Angelou. This is a modern library? Yeah, modern library collection of her autobiographies, of which there are several. So I'm going to try to get to the second one and see how it goes. But if I can't get to this, I will read her poetry or some of her poetry. I will read a book by a phenomenal woman or about a phenomenal woman, and continue to call Maya one of my great friends on Booktube. That is it for me. Let me know in the comments below what you think of any of the books I showed you. Please check out Pat from Book Chat with Pat, and Erin from Erin Go Live, my friend Britta at The Second Shelf, or Britta Bowler, and Maya of Marilyn Maya Mendoza, or the baby boomer booktuber. I knew I would get it right. So let me know in the comments below what you think of any of these books, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, everybody.